Beth Ann.
What's up? I'm Ayla.
This is Let's Talk BL, a boys love podcast.
Welcome back to the podcast. It is Sunday Series Sunday, that one day of the week when we talk all things one series and one series only. So if you have not seen this series, turn back now or forever be spoiled. Although it's highly unlikely that if you're in this BL life, you have not seen this series, even if you watched it begrudgingly.
Right. Yeah, this was one of the first things I watched.
I avoided this one for a long time because people were like, but also other people, not just you, but we're like, oh no, like it's not worth it, etc.
Yeah, I was like, I was indifferent to this series.
Right.
I was like, it didn't float my boat. Like, I just don't. I was at this point in my BL journey, I was frustrated by shows like this.
I was gonna say, do you think it's because of how your BL journey started? Maybe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, y'all, we're talking
together. I'm just so excited.
That was cute.
Unplanned.
Amazing.
I have been trying to get you to do this as a series Sunday literally since last season. And here's the trick, you guys. Beth Ann was mean to me, and this is clearly my consolation prize.
Yes, I begrudgingly agree.
So I get to talk about it together. I'm so excited. I've been trying to talk about this show for 2 seasons now.
Mainly because, y'all, I remember absolutely nothing from any show that I ever watched. And so I have to rewatch a lot of the series Sundays that we do. And I did not want to rewatch this show.
But, like, it's so cute. Like, and you even admitted upon the compilation rewatches, you were like, oh. And I feel like that happened to you with Until We Meet Again, too.
It did.
You were like, oh, I didn't really like the show. And I was like, but are you sure?
It's true. I think because, I got into BL with Tarn Type and Why Are You?
Right. And that's an interesting transition.
Right. And I like a little more spice. Y'all, I'm loving this like grown up 2022 BL year that we're getting. I also like some soft ones. I am loving La Cuisine. It is like the most adorable show.
So fluff.
But the pacing is nice. And I felt like with this one, I think I'd probably seen Sodas recently when I watched this. And
see, I liked Sodas too. So I don't know.
So, but yeah, this is like one of those GMMTV staples that like you definitely need to watch. And we've talked about this before because we asked people during one of our shows, I forget what it was, but we were like, guys, explain to us the phenomenon of Together.
Right. We did do that during an episode.
And so it was interesting because I always forget this, that it was the pandemic.
It was the height of the pandemic.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were like, it was fluffy and it was comforting and it was this like fun, sweet, nice thing during a time when we were all so freaked out.
Yeah. And this show is stacked.
This show is stacked. So before we get into everything, of course, nuts and bolts.
Yes. Okay. It came out in 2020 on YouTube, GMMTV.
Bless.
Directed by Piaf.
No.
The first one is it.
The first one is not.
The second
Still
one and
Together,
the movie are directed by Piaf.
So Together, which we're talking about Together, not Still Together and not Together the movie. We're talking about Together. Not directed by Piaf. Sadly.
Yes. It stars. I didn't write this down, y'all.
Because you don't need to.
Win Medowin as Tyne. Bright.
Wachiri what? Right? Because the V is it a W?
Yeah, right. As Sarawat.
Sarawat, if you will.
Yes. Sarawat means chief.
Yes.
Captain,
like it's an officer sergeant, like a sergeant, like a police sergeant.
Yeah.
Sergeant.
Amazing.
Yes.
Good old Brightwin, y'all.
Good old Brightwin.
Talking Brightwin. Okay.
Synopsis.
Yes.
Huh. I'm seeing the synopsis for the first time and there's like details in here that did not know this about Tyne. Anyways.
I remember seeing this, but it makes sense because like we'll talk about it.
Anyways.
No.
Tyne is a very handsome student and cheerleader in college, while Sarawat is one of the campus's most popular guys and is also in the soccer and music club. When Tyne is chased by Green, who he does not reciprocate feelings for, he ends up begging Sarawat to take a fake date with him in order to chase Green away. Somehow, just like the tale as old as time goes, pretend somehow starts to turn into reality.
Okay.
However, before a happily ever after, there is the process of falling in love and the slow realization that somehow they aren't pretending anymore. Somehow they do not want to.
Yes.
Okay, interesting. Number 1, did not realize Tyne was a cheerleader.
Okay, so the cheerleaders in Thailand are interesting. So Tae Tawan, the role that he had as that like baton holder,
Right.
he's a cheerleader.
Right.
And so like that uniform that Tyne is wearing is the cheer like
I think I just assumed he was in the band.
Yeah, those are cheerleaders.
Right. Okay, this makes sense now.
I don't do they have marching bands?
I don't know.
I don't think they do because like the heat.
It
would be
I mean, we have them in Texas, and it's like, I mean, it's a problem because marching bands have to practice in the summer before school starts. And like, I mean, kids are like passing out and it's like problematic. So I can only imagine in Bangkok.
Yeah, so he's a cheerleader. I'm fascinated by the cheerleaders at universities in Thailand.
I know, that's the other thing. We need to know about TU sexy boys and cheerleaders.
Well, we're going to see Jump in August. So
yes.
Coming soon. Just you wait.
But
yeah, fun fact.
Also, the other thing about the synopsis, like the whole realization that we're not pretending, that's one-sided because we talked about this when you were watching your comps to like get like refreshed.
Yeah.
I said, and I have said from the beginning, Sarawat was never pretending. And he's straightforward about it. Literally from the beginning, like he tells him like 82 times, he's like, no, I actually like you. And every time, stupid, dumb Tyne is like, oh, haha, you're so good at this flirting thing. Or like, ha ha ha. Like literally there's a scene. I get so heated about this, you guys, because I am team Sarawat all the way.
It's
and
like
I love
plain sight, right? Where it's like, y'all, if you go up to your crush and be like, I like you, and they say like nothing, just be like, ha ha ha, just kidding. You'll never know.
But he wasn't haha, just kidding. He fully, there's a scene. He kisses him on the mouth. And then he says, I like you for real. And somehow Tyne still walks away being like, I don't get it.
Bro, truly the definition of a dumb boy.
I mean, okay, I said this earlier, and as y'all know, it always comes back to You're My Sky. I was like, this is like San and I.
Yes.
But if I was the outgoing one and not the grumpy one, right? Yeah. So like switch your personality types, and he was just really stupid. Like this is San and I. Okay, if you want like this same relationship and dynamic, but like you want to see them actually be a couple and like communicate and like be golden.
Perfect.
You're My Sky. Yeah, that's what I have for you. Boom jump.
That is our You're My Sky
You're My
quota.
Sky quote. That's what I have for you. Boom jump. Yes.
True. Yeah, I remember watching this and being like, this boy is so aggressively flirting with this other boy, and the other boy just doesn't get it. He's never gonna get it.
Because there's this scene really early on when Tyne is still trying to convince I keep wanting to say Bright. His name is not, but
Sarawat.
Yes, Sarawat, to be his like fake boyfriend.
Yes. And
Sarawat even says like, I called you by the thing that I like. Right? Because he's like, oh, like me or soap operas or whatever. And he's like, you, and he's like, oh, you hate me more than soap operas. Yeah. And Sarawat's like, no, I said the thing I like. I mean, he's being so transparent.
This show has so many scenes that like, even though I watched it literally 2 years ago, I remember like there are certain scenes that are so vivid, like that first scene where they run into each other, right? And he's like, I think Tyne is running away from Green. And they run into each other, and that's the first moment where he's like, pretend to be my boyfriend, right?
Yeah.
And then he's like, I'm gonna kiss you till you drop.
He's chasing Sarawat.
Yeah.
He's like trying to find Sarawat because Sarawat's like so popular that Sarawat's being chased by people, and it's like a whole thing. And he gets him, and he's like, be my boyfriend. Because he's emailed him.
Me in Thailand.
Right. Ben Fangana?
Yeah. I got that one.
Because he's emailed him.
Didn't need Thai lessons for that. Thank you. Don't say no.
He's emailed him and all this stuff. And like, okay, this leads into my favorite scene in this entire show. And I was thinking about it, and I think this is my favorite scene in any BL ever.
Interesting.
Out of all the BLs I've ever seen, I think this is my favorite scene, truly.
Okay.
Is the scene where it's revealed that I'm literally going to cry talking about this scene. I love this scene so much. So the scene where it's revealed that Sarawat has had a crush on Tyne this whole time.
So cute.
And you see him run to his friends, who are Mike and Gunsmile, who, by the way, I love both of those boys,
best
like,
friend group
unconditionally.
Yeah.
But especially Gunsmile. Gunsmile has a history of making me cry on this podcast.
Was Together your Gunsmile awakening, or was it He's Coming to Me?
No, I liked I watched Together before I watched He's Coming to Me.
Right.
And so I loved Gunsmile going into He's Coming to Me because I loved Gunsmile. I really loved Gunsmile and Together. Three Will Be Free is where he first made me cry. Yeah. Anyway, so he runs to them and he goes and like this whole time we've seen him be so grumpy. Right? We've seen grumpy Sarawat. And you see him and he's so excited. And it's like the first time you see this character like smiling and excited.
Yeah.
And he just goes, I found him. He's like, you guys, I found him. I found the boy. And then you get this montage of like how he first saw him at the concert and he like had this crush on him and he's been searching for him. And he's just like, he's so happy.
Wait, you don't get that scene until the end, right?
You don't get it. Well, it's not at the end, but you don't get it until after like a very long period of seeing Sarawat be like grumpy and evasive.
Right. Because I remember, I mean, it's a pretty good storyline where it's like you think he's being grumpy. You think he's like begrudging this boy who's running away from this like aggressive suitor. And then, like, when they give that reveal, like, that's a pretty good reveal.
I mean, it's
truly, so cute that he's been searching for him, like, his entire, like, what, semester?
And I think what makes it even better is that it's the way that they put it in here. It's the pacing of it.
Yeah.
Is because all the way up until this point, you have only seen grumpy Sarawat.
Right.
And so all of a sudden, he just, like, he does this 180 and you see him so happy and so joyful for the first time in the whole show. And I mean, Bright is adorable too. And it's just like, I can't even explain, like, this scene is magic when he's like, I found him. And you're just like, oh my God, he found him.
I would be so interested to see Bright in a happy-go-lucky role. Because he's only gotten these, like, really dark, serious, like, grumpy.
Well, because he has a grumpy face. Okay, I've said this before. I said this in season 1 of the podcast, where I frequently, because you really, I think until today, disliked Bright.
Yeah, I did
like,
not
literally until today.
Yeah.
And I was like, here's the thing. I describe him frequently as creme brulee because he's got this like very grumpy looking face and like he looks stern and he looks like you wouldn't want to go up to him because he might be like mean to you.
Like, unapproachable.
But he's actually so soft. Like he's so soft and sweet and he's like artistic.
He's got like Tay Chai Pat vibes.
And he's
like,
so sweet.
He goes so soft.
And so he's got this like crunchy little exterior, but like a soft sweet pudding inside. And I love Bright. I can't help it. I love him. I do.
I would love to see him in like a goofy, silly, happy role. Another part of this show is we talked about this at the beginning. It's so stacked.
This cast is stacked. And I saw this so early on in my BL career that I, until today, didn't really realize or appreciate how stacked this cast was.
This is what happens in BL life. Is that you start to watch shows and you start to see people. You start to see side characters. You start to see, but until it hits you, you don't really register that person. Right. Because like first of Don't Say No, Jaw First is in this. And like until you watch Don't Say No and get to know First, then you're like, wait a second, because I
didn't know that boy.
Right, we were doing his interview, our research for his interview, and we were like,
by the way, if you haven't watched our interview with John First, go watch it. It's actually so fun.
And he is like, we were doing their filmography, and he's in Together, and we were like, wait a second.
We were like, hold on.
And then you're like, oh, right, he's in Together. Yeah. And like the same thing with like Toptap, whenever he appears, you're like,
a wild Toptap appears.
You're like, oh, always. Yeah, Toptap.
Speaking of, a wild Toptap appears here. And this show actually is why this was my intro to Toptap. And I didn't like him.
You know what's funny? I feel like I had the same experience with Toptap that you had with Bright. Because Toptap was one of my first like BL boys that I like followed on Instagram. I turned on notifications. I became like just in love with Toptap. Like I just thought he was so cute despite his like awful character in the show.
Until recently had never turned notifications on for a BL boy. It wasn't literally until Sia was the first BL boy I turned notifications on for. Yeah.
For me, it was Toptap, and then I'm trying to think who else. I think that was it.
Yeah. Well, you had notifications on for Joss because I still get them on Let's Talk BL.
I did.
Joss does anything, and I'm like, oh, Joss, there he is.
It's true. But that was on like our Let's Talk BL.
That was on Let's Talk BL, yeah. Oh yeah, I have notifications for Sia on all the accounts, like my personal, my burner.
We're like, no, when he wakes up in the morning because he goes straight to Twitter, and we're like, Sia's away.
I have notifications on for the TikTok.
Stay tuned for us scaring Sia literally the entire time we're in the Philippines.
I don't know what's scaring, admiring.
It's true. Okay, so let's talk about
the cast, stacked cast.
Yes. It has Gunn, who plays Green,
not of Afghan fame.
And Green is a cool guy because he and his boyfriend
Gunn.
have a YouTube.
Gunn.
Yes,
he plays Green.
Yes. Yeah, and he's like really cool off screen. He's appeared in some other things, which is really fun. He's appearing in something soon. Don't remember what.
He was in Paint with Love. If you watched Paint with Love,
yeah. We have Guy, who is about to be in Mama Go-Go, who plays Dim. Fun appearance by Love.
Love, yes. If you're Bad Buddy fans, unite.
Yes. Who plays Pear.
And according to when we looked it up,
Wikipedia,
she was Tyne's crush. I didn't get that from the show. I feel like maybe was it explained in the novel?
Maybe.
That happens to me all the time. People are like, oh, well, it was in the novel. And I'm like, oh.
I feel like so many BLs have that girl that you're crushing with. For example, and You're My Sky, Torn's character has that girl, right? So that girl would be considered his crush.
Wait, Torn or Fa?
Sorry, Fa.
Okay, I was like,
still on the brain.
Sia had a girl in You're My Sky?
Fa had that girl that he was crushing on.
Right. But he was like, I never really liked you. That was a weird explanation.
Right. So it was one of those things where I think every BL has that girl that they're associated with, and that's probably like the label she got.
Gotcha.
Like she was the crush before he like had his gay awakening.
What was confusing about that is that you, at least in the show, I only ever remember seeing her in relation to Sarawat. You know what? Everybody who's listening to this right now is like, Ayla, you're so stupid. No, she's also in the music club, and that's how she like ends up in this music video with Sarawat. And that's where Tyne and Pear have their like little combo moments.
Okay.
And it's just, I remember, it's all coming back to me now. It's all coming back to me now. Okay.
Okay. Then also speaking of the girls that they're attached to, you have Gigi, who plays Pam, who's Sarawat's high school friend, who of course throws in that. Was that an Ep 11?
Yeah, it was a cursed episode situation
where his former crush comes back and of course like rocks Tyne's world and is like, oh no, you've taken my boy away.
Right. This is where we get the scene of him like crying in the hallway where he's like because yes, honestly, also she's the worst because she does basically say like, oh, we're dating, and she like really aggressively
after Heartstopper.
Yeah. Really aggressively after Sarawat is like, I don't like you like that. This is not like, you're just my friend. She like
doesn't get it.
Physically like comes on to him, right? Yeah. She's not just like, oh, I'm so sad about this. She's like physically touches him. Right. I mean, she must know about his like kink. I don't know. But like and that's what triggers Tyne to be like, oh my God, he's touching a girl. But also I will say the whole bracelet thing was sus.
Oh yeah.
That like, okay, I understand she's the one that gave Sarawat the bracelet that was like Sarawat and Pam, whatever. And it was a guitar pick because she had taught him to play guitar. But I can also understand why, from like Tyne's perspective, Sarawat basically used that same move on him, which is like feels gross.
Well, it's you learn a move that you think is good that you
I
could
don't know,
not,
feels gross.
you couldn't imagine that person ever coming. Like, she transferred schools at the last minute, right? Like,
right. I don't know. Still feels gross. Still feels gross to me that he was like using the like come
Yeah.
up with something new for like your boy.
Also, fun fact: the actress that plays Pam is Nandon's cousin.
Yes,
She has a cool story.
She's really cool.
Okay, so then we have Tyne's friends,
who are kind of the worst in this
worst,
show,
but like the best actors.
But the actors, but they're the worst.
So you have Cow Tongue.
Cow Tongue. Cow Tongue is not the worst. Cow Tongue is the most reasonable of his friend group, I think.
Yeah, I love,
in my opinion.
I love the description that Wikipedia gives, which is Cow Tongue plays Fong, who's the friend that gives advice.
He does give advice in the show, yes.
Then you have Plume, who plays Puck. Sure. And then you have JJ of AJJJ, who plays
of AJJJ.
Y'all, tell us if you have figured out who AJ and JJ are, because
by sight alone. Okay, you're not allowed to cheat.
Or by show.
If you can ever remember which one is which.
Yes, because constantly we're like, wait, is this AJ or JJ?
Because literally today we were talking about this cast, and I was like, oh, JJ is the one in Star in My Mind, right? And you were like, sure. Which we had just looked up because we just interviewed Jung and Dunk. And truly, I feel like every time someone in the world goes, I don't know if it's AJ or JJ, GMMTV somehow gets more power. Like, I think they get like a penny every time, like somehow every time someone in the world says that, because like GMMTV loves that trope of which one is which. And I just feel like anytime anyone in the world is like, I don't remember, I don't know which one is which, GMMTV somehow gains more power.
$1 million question. Do you think we'll get a twin BL? Will AJ or JJ get their lead in a BL?
Ooh, I don't know. I think if it was going to be someone, I think it would be JJ.
You don't know which one that is?
No, because JJ has a longer BL filmography, right?
I don't think so. I think they both.
Is it AJ? Oh, we looked this up at one point.
You don't know either. You're giving GMMTV more power.
I am. I truly am right now. No, I don't know. I actually think it would be really fun to have them in like a Parent Trap BL, like a Parent Trap situation BL, but like the Parent Trap is like his, like one of the brothers, he's like, help me, I can't like talk to this boy, I'm too shy.
Yeah.
And then it's, you know what I mean? Like that would be a really fun BL premise. Someone write that, Letty.
Yeah, one of them showed up in something recently and I was like, oh my gosh, they're looking so grown, because like we've seen them.
Well, yeah, they're grown-ups now.
It's like Pooin. They're growing up before
our own eyes. Pooin. I remember when I thought Pooin was a baby. Remember the good old days when Pooin was the baby?
Oh my god.
Remember that?
He's like 4 PK at this point.
Yeah. No, he's only 2. He's only 2.
Okay.
Yeah?
Okay, so then you have Sarawat's friends with a good old gun smile.
And Sarawat's friends
Plays
are
boss.
amazing.
Yes, and Mike, who plays Man.
Oh, Gunsmile and Mike. Honestly, Man goes through it during this show.
Yeah. Mike is such a lovable boy that he brings such like
I love Mike's face.
Genuineness to a character.
Oh, I know. I want to give him 8 million head pats always. I love him. Because I watched Theory of Love before I watched this, and I adore him in Theory of Love. He plays a straight character.
Right.
I adore him in Theory of Love. I adore him in this. I cannot think of one thing. Tanhan, adore him. I can't, like, honestly, Mike's face just brings me joy because every character he's ever played, I've adored.
Yeah. To TBD.
I don't know. Listen, this Mike Chris situation.
Let's not talk about it, because let's talk about Mike Toptap. Okay, here's the thing. We have Toptap, who plays Type.
Yes.
Funny enough, appropriately named. Who plays Tyne's brother, who
is the worst.
Is the absolute worst. Truly the worst character.
Yeah.
Maybe in all of BL. No.
I really didn't like Toptap for a really long time because of this show.
Yeah. I remember that because I loved him so deeply, and you were like, he's the worst.
Like, he's the worst. I can't.
But y'all,
and here's why I don't like him in this show. Like, here's why I don't like Type.
Yeah.
Is because he's grumpy, and for what? You know what I mean?
He's grumpy for no reason.
He's just actively mean.
We don't
it's
know
not
about
that he's just grumpy. It's that he's just mean.
We don't know any childhood trauma.
And once Sarawat and Tyne get together and they're living together, he's like mean.
Yeah.
Just like actively mean and actively like unsupported.
Like there's a protective brother aspect that you can be where like you're
without
not
being
just like
mean.
a jerk.
Right.
Yeah.
I really don't like him. And then I don't like how he handled the situation with Man, because it isn't until Man kind of is like, okay, I've had enough abuse from you, that Type is then like, oh no, don't go anywhere. Right. So I am not a fan, but that being said, R.I.P. pouring out for the lost couples.
Y'all, I watched one Type Man Type compilation and couldn't anymore. I like almost cried.
This is the only time in BL that I have ever been so sad
about this.
For the most part, my stance is go kiss all the boys, be in every BL, have 8 million couples, be a Singto. You be a Singto.
I love that idea.
I want every boy in BL to be a Singto.
But here's the thing. We say that about couples who have had their lead roles.
But Mike and Toptap, like, gone too soon.
Tanhan teased us.
It's so upsetting to me. It's so upset. I'm so sad.
Also, it just crashed and burned so
publicly. Oh, so badly. I am just truly, this is the only time I've ever been cheated out of, or I felt cheated out of a couple.
This is like a breakup where you're not told the reason.
Right.
That's what this is. That's why we're so distraught. It's because we don't know why.
I know.
But we know it's done.
I know.
We don't know why. And now Mike is gonna go kiss Chris. Don't like it.
The only other time that I like just recently, so normally I'm just like, oh, whatever, like their story is over, like it's fine. I will say recently I was chatting with Christina. Shout out Christina on TikTok. If you don't follow her, you should go follow her. She's hilarious and amazing. But she was talking to me about You're My Sky. As you do.
I mean, right? That's like literally everyone's intro. When anybody DMs us and is like, hey, do you have a BL recommendation? I've already watched You're My Sky. Or like, hey, found you because of You're My Sky. Or like, hey, I watched You're My Sky because of you. Like,
so she and I connected because of Jungdong. I had been following her for like a while actually. Yeah. And like, because I love her content. But she and I'm gonna look up her exact username so that if you're not, I mean, you're probably already following her, but like if you're not following her, like I want you to, because like her content is pretty great.
Yes.
But like I was like, obviously we got to talking, whatever. And she was like, and I was like, oh, did you watch You're My Sky? That's just like my thing. It's like, but did you watch You're My Sky?
We need to make t-shirts.
Did you watch You're My Sky?
But did you watch You're My Sky?
And she was like, yeah. And so we started talking about You're My Sky. And she gave me this like epiphany where everybody who has been like, I didn't like the Domevi ending. I was like, okay. She was like, I didn't like the Domevi ending and here's why. And she explained it to me. And she's very articulate and smart. And I think now.
Oh no. Oh no. Y'all.
I think now. Like I can't even say it. But
wait, what did she explain to you?
This is not a You're My Sky series Sunday.
Then I'm going to hear it.
I'll tell you later.
This is Let's Talk BL. We talk about what we want to talk about.
Tell you later.
Oh my God.
Anyways, my point is,
stay tuned. Part 2 of You're My Sky series Sunday. Because let's be honest, we didn't do a lot of talking on that series Sunday.
No, we did a lot of talking. We did a lot of talking. There just wasn't a lot of explanation that happened.
True. But stay tuned to the Apple interview because she explains.
Our girl Apple.
Oh my God, she kills it.
She spills the tea. Yeah. She spills that You're My Sky tea.
She gets it.
Anyways, the moral of the story is, weirdly, the two couples I feel cheated of now are Mike Toptap and.
Go ahead, say it.
I don't want to.
Say it. Go ahead. Say the name. Say the name.
Say it out loud.
Out loud.
And Chris and Portia.
Wild.
It's wild. But like Christina, this is her fault. At c.chris.tina.a. If you don't follow her on TikTok, go follow her. She's awesome. Beautiful. Anyways.
Mike Toptap.
I feel cheated. I I'm gonna rent some tuk-tuks.
Do it.
They're gonna drive past the GMMTV building every day that just says, "I demand justice for Toptap."
Amen.
That's what I'm gonna do.
We're gonna go hold pickets outside GMMTV when we go to Thailand
One day.
Okay. We got Drake Frank.
Okay, I've talked pretty openly about how I hated Drake, like hated him.
Yeah, because this is your introduction.
This is the root of all Drake evil.
Okay, so moral of the story is don't watch Together early on in your BL journey. Watch everything else because they just give all these great boys a bad rap. Because man, when we watched "Cause You're My Boy,"
okay, no, the only reason, so you watched "Cause You're My Boy" because I told you to, because I started watching "Cause You're My Boy."
That was like the first BL that you watched before me.
I think. Because I watched Tale of 1,000 Stars. And
you had a Drake
awakening. I was like, hold on, I like him. I was like, because literally until Tale of 1,000 Stars, I just called him Eyebrows.
Yeah.
Like I literally
eyebrows and ears.
Eyebrows and ears. Yeah. I literally refused to learn his name because I hated him so much in Together. I think Mill is his character in Together is despicable. He has no redeeming qualities. Even that little ending, despicable. Pukong, who's Frank's character, is a child.
Sweet boy.
He is in high school.
Oh, right. Wasn't there like a whole thing where like Mill was so mean to him?
Yes.
And was like stringing him along.
He was weirdly stringing him along.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like,
Jeff and Barcode in
which is also very upsetting
we screamed
to me.
at the TV all episode 5 of Kim Borsch.
But what's weird about Mill and Pukong is that like he's super nice to him at it backstage at this music competition, right? Which is what makes Pukong decide he like has a crush on Mill. And then he's super mean to him, presumably because you're like, oh, he understands this high school boy has a crush on him and he knows it's inappropriate, right?
Right.
And you're like, okay, this is understandable, right? Like he's being super mean and he's not doing it the right way, but like I get it.
Yeah.
But then he like weirdly strings him along and is like, like, and then by the end, he's basically like, yeah, I'll date you, or like we could be together one day, which like is inappropriate. And I don't like it, and I'm not a fan of it, and it's a no from me, dog.
Go watch Cause You're My Boy.
But Cause You're My
Drake
Boy.
Frank.
Cause You're My Boy.
Dang. And Our Sky. Their Our Sky episode was excellent.
Yeah. And by the time, and so I hated Drake. I hated him. And then Tale of 1,000 Stars happened, and he is just the cutest little park ranger. And
so good.
And the eyebrows were suddenly so endearing to me.
Classic.
And then I watched Cause You're My Boy, and then I was like, Drake Frank for life. And now Frank is
kissing every boy.
Frank is becoming Singto 2.0, and I'm here for it. I stand. We live.
Could Drake be the other boy?
Maybe.
I can see it.
Who do we think Drake will get repaired now that Frank has?
I think Drake plays an excellent
support role.
Yes. I mean, I think Drake could lead his. He has already led his own show.
Right, yeah.
But I love him as that friend. He's like the Perth of GMMTV. Right? Like Perth right now is playing that character, that English talking character in every show.
Nice one, loser.
Yeah.
I say that all the time, by the way. I just literally will walk around being like, nice one, loser.
What? He had a great line today, too.
Are you fucking dumb, bro?
Yeah, I love it. Amazing. Okay, and then the last character that I have listed is first plays Chat.
Yes.
Who's a friend of Mills.
First of Joffers.
Yes. When I put this guide together, I was like, okay, we need to like have some type of like form.
So we always put the highlights in our guides so that we can like stay on track. Although we don't always stay on track, obviously. This like weirdly turned into a You're My Sky series like, Sunday at one point.
I was like, what is our time right now? Okay, so let's talk about boobs. That was the first thing I wrote down because these compilations are just like him saying boobs over and over again.
Well, and when you watch the show, even I remember being like,
what? That's not a thing.
Being like, why are we so preoccupied? with this man's
And it's
chest.
not like he even has a big chest.
I mean, you do see him shirtless, and clearly Sweet Win Medawin like
Bulked up.
a little bit.
But yeah, man, Sarawat is like all about the boobs.
All about the boobs.
You know, there's no explanation.
Does anyone know? Is it explained in the novel? If you know, because you read the novel.
What is going to be the first novel that we read?
You're My Sky.
Yeah, if that gets translated to English.
I've been trying to find it in English for a while now. Chris.
I mean, really, y'all, though, because Bible just translated Kinport.
Yeah, he did.
Who else? There's another.
Well, I mean, we know Pavel did the subs for
2 Moons.
2 Moons, too.
2. Yeah, Chris and Portia.
Chris and Portia. Oh my God. They should.
Oh my God.
They should.
Is this a BL? Them writing a book?
No. First of all, on our series Sunday, remember Chris was like, I read the novel, and Portia was like,
did you?
So, like, you know what they should do?
Oh my God. Oh my God. They should do the audiobook.
That's what I was about to say. They should do a dramatic reading of the novel. I swear to God, I would pay so much money for that.
Listen, as someone who loved Call Me by Your Name, and then He Who Shall Not Be Named read the audiobook.
Right.
It was a crazy experience because the audiobook is written in the voice of not his character that he plays in the show. So he's playing the other character.
I'm so tempted right now.
Anyway.
Oh my God.
That would be really funny. Worldwide.
That would be so worldwide entertainment.
We'll DM Junior.
Speaking of You're My Sky, our Go for You're My Sky merch is open now. It's still open until the 17th. If you want to get those jackets.
Yes.
We got
or
you.
literally all of it, because
so many people have already joined this order. Like, it's actually going to be a big order. I'm a little scared my credit card's going to like light on fire when I put it in.
I love that for you. Okay. The friends in the show
are half and half, which we already talked about a little bit, where I really feel like Tyne's friends are kind of the worst and Sarawat's friends are kind of the best.
Yeah.
So,
which I guess tracks, because ultimately when you look at these two characters, Tyne is a pretty face who's kind of a jerk.
He is kind of a jerk.
Right? Like, he uses this other boy who's clearly in love with him, but like he can't see it for the life of him. And he's trying to avoid this other boy who, does he ever actually say like, hey, please stay away from me?
I mean, nicely, he kind of does.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't really like you that way. And, you know, there's this trope that like we always talk about, we don't get the trope of like, I'll love you enough for both of us. That's the situation that's happening here.
I'm about to live that trope when I go to the Philippines. I'm just gonna go to
yeah. I'll love you enough for the both of us.
I mean, I think he already knows that I love.
He knows. We're gonna be like, between the two of us, the sheer amount of love, like it could power 1,000 villages. No, so that's what's kind of happening with Green a little bit, and I will say, Tyne feels like what?
I know they don't have tuk-tuks in the Philippines, but all I'm thinking is like one of those digital billboards on the side of a truck that we just buy for the fan con that's like a SUA ad.
No, you know what we need to do at our booth? If you're going to Red Camp Fan Con, check us out at our booth, say hello, we'll be there, media partners, super excited. For our booth, we should just like, part of it should just be dedicated to like SUA Fan Con, like just like half the booth is Let's Talk BL, the other half is like SUA appreciation,
or like hopefully SUA's fan club will have a booth and we can like sponsor half of it.
Yes, SUA fan clubs. If you're listening, SUA fan clubs, and you're going to Right Camp Fan Con, I do know that there's a cost for fan club booths. Hit us up. Hit us up.
That's what Count Us fan club did. It worked. We love to support.
How much? How much is that? You keep talking about this.
I don't even know how we got here. How did we get here? We were talking about the friends. We were talking about how Tyne is probably the worst person ever, which tracks that his friends are kind of the worst.
Can we be can we just we're gonna establish a Suha fan club right now.
In
This is
collaboration.
Like USFC.
Yes, there's not. Y'all, we tried to do this for Young Jay back in the day. We created a Young Jay Nation
We did
Instagram. There were 3 of us that
there
were
were
going to do
3
this.
of us trying to run this
It
thing, and it
never
just
happened.
did not work.
Because, like, it's a big undertaking.
Yes,
like,
I
what
respect fan
photos do
clubs.
you
I
use?
respect
Like,
fan clubs so much
Yeah.
because it is hard.
This series Sunday is absolutely insane. It tracks. I mean, together is insane. Let's be honest.
Oh, Lord have mercy. I'm going to do it. Watch me do it.
I love it.
See you in the Philippines, yeah.
Okay, we've already talked about the ex-girlfriend, which the girls in the show, none of them were villainized. One was kind of annoying.
Not villainized. Here's the thing.
Because does she get it when he's
Pam-
finally like...
Pam wasn't villainized. She was a villain.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that she got villainized, it's that she was legitimately a villain. But Pear never was. Like, Pear was solid all the way through.
She's like a Milk
Mhm.
in Bad Bunny. What was her character's name?
Ink
Pa. Yeah, got it. Okay, another fun trope of this show is that they moved in together.
Immediately.
Literally. Why? Why did they move in together?
Why did we move in together?
Why not?
There's your answer.
Because I couldn't stay away from you any longer.
There's your answer.
But yeah, they moved in together, and this has some of the cutest scenes. Like
the
that
cutest
couch scene is
I
very
know
sweet.
when Toptap's character is coming to visit, and so he's like sleeping in the bed, and then Tyne sneaks out and they cuddle on the futon.
This is another trope in BLs, in a lot of dramas actually, is they move into places that only have one bed.
Right.
Is this a thing in Thailand?
Well, what were we watching? Oh, you weren't watching this. I was recently watching this. Spoilers if you're watching Ocean Likes Me. Fast forward like 3 minutes right now if you don't want to hear the spoiler. So the 2 main characters in Ocean Likes Me, there's like a situation where they have to sleep in the same bed.
Right.
So I feel like this is just a popular BL trope. And I do think it's pretty common if you've got a double bed that like you just share the bed.
Because it
Whatever.
happened in Gen Y when Bank Bonus had to move in together.
Right. Problematic.
Yeah. Where else has it happened?
Well, I mean, we see it in Dark Blue Kiss with Pod and Gawain at the hotel.
Yes.
Where it's like, we're out of rooms with 2 beds.
Right.
Guess you gotta snuggle.
Right, which is like a pretty common like traveling, but like moving in together where like you can't get bunk beds or something.
But they're so sweet because they move in
That's
together
very
and
cute.
they just love cuddling so much that when they can't, like Tyne like sneaks out so they can. It's very cute. They enjoy cuddling, which I really appreciate because before they even move in together, that scene after the fight, after Mill has like beat up Sarawat and has like jumped him with like a gang.
Yeah.
And they both end up in the fight, right? And they've like taken care of each other with the little like Q-tip thingy.
Yeah.
I swear to God, I'm gonna go if I ever make it to Thailand, I'm gonna go 7-Eleven. That's the first thing I'm gonna buy, and I'm just gonna like scrape my knee.
Amazing.
Yeah.
We need to have Boom's line account.
Yeah.
Be like, Boom, we're injured.
No. I'm gonna wait. Here, okay. Set the scene. Somehow I'm hanging out with Boom.
In the Philippines.
And then, right. And then I'm going to scrape my knee and then Boom can first aid me.
Amazing.
With his skills. No, because I'm highly interested in this little like Q-tip medicine thing.
Yeah.
Because we don't have that here. It's like the inhalers. I'm just like really curious about it. Anyways, they've taken care of each other.
Yes.
And there's this whole situation of like who's going to sleep in the bed versus who's going to sleep on the couch. And they end up both sleeping on the couch. And like they cuddle. And I will say this was the one scene in this show when I was like, they should have kissed.
Yeah.
Like I was disappointed and like a little upset that they didn't kiss in that scene.
Right. I think that's what this show frustrated me because they move in together and they're still not like intimate.
Right.
Just even like affectionate.
Well, they are affectionate. I mean,
I feel like
they're not Tarn type affectionate, but that's a lot.
Yeah. But yeah, them moving in together and then Toptap appearing and being
Right.
like, I gotta stay with you.
And he's kind of being like a jerk the whole
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
time. I'm not a fan.
Okay, the other thing I want to talk about in this show is the music. Bright can
A
sing.
plus, 10 out of 10. Bright, I stan. We love.
We were in a Asian grocery store in town recently, and suddenly a song came on. And we're like,
we both go, that's Ty.
we're like, that's Ty.
We're like yelling in the checkout aisle. We're like, it's Ty, it's Ty, and we're like,
classically, it's like K-pop.
Usually it's K-pop, or in this specific grocery store, it's a lot of C-pop.
Right,
is what happens.
It's Hong Kong City Mall.
It's Hong Kong Mall, yeah.
So then we were like, wait a second, and we like literally tried to find a speaker so that we could get close to
so that we could get close enough, because we couldn't really hear the song. We could only hear. I heard the and I was like, no, Bethan, this is Ty. And then we hear the words, and we're like, no, that's Ty. But we can't really hear it, and so we're like trying to get a speaker, and we just can't. We can't find a speaker in this whole store. No. Like, we literally walked around the whole store. We're like looking at the ceilings, like trying to find speakers, and finally we're walking out to the car, and we're like humming it to ourselves. We're like, I know this song. What is that song? And I think you were the one that figured it out. Yeah.
Because we were like going through our playlist that we listen to regularly, and we're like, oh, it's Bright.
It's Bright
from Together.
So that was super cool. That's the first and only time I've ever heard like a Thai song in the wild.
Right. And it would make total sense that this would be the song, because GMMTV, actually, I don't know who it is actually that credits the like rise of BL to Together, but apparently the international rise of BL has been credited to Together.
I can see that. Most international fans that I know
got into it
during Together.
Yeah. Probably because of like, again, the YouTube of it all, it coming out right when we went into lockdown.
Right when the US went into lockdown.
Right. Yeah. Because it was so interesting getting into BL when I did, because we had just gone into lockdown, and Thailand had kind of figured out the quarantine situation and like
it took us a long time,
the preventative measures. And so we were doing the opposite, right? Where like we were locked down, Thailand was open until the fall, and then the fall they locked down again,
and we opened back up. Yeah, a mess.
Confusing. So yeah, it's one of those things where I guess this would be the show, because you have two lead boys that are pretty attractive, and that are pretty and
it was sweet, and it was fluffy to everybody, and it was light, and it wasn't so heavy, right? I think that's the other thing is like a lot of BLs, I mean, these are dramas, right? We're watching dramas, right? And so like there's gonna be like, ooh, intrigue, whatever.
This is a rom-com.
This is fully a rom-com where even the drama is not so heavy that you feel stressed out about it.
Right.
Yeah.
And it lasts for like a hot second.
Yeah.
Right. Because what's the conflict? Sarawat's girl coming, and
she's a little bit of a conflict. The whole green thing is a little bit of a conflict. The whole mill thing's a little bit of a conflict.
Right.
But again, it's like a little bit of a conflict. It's not like
and then
it's not like one of these boys immediately drastically changes character and starts pushing people down on the basketball court, and then like you cry, you're like, I don't understand what's happening to me, and then you're really upset about it, and it's like really dramatic, and then it's not all that.
Okay. And what was the plot twist with Green?
He was dating Guy's character the whole time.
That's right.
Yes.
He was like trying to hide it.
Yeah.
Classic. Okay. Anything else on this show?
It's honestly, I'm so happy I got to talk about this show, because I really did love Together. It's not one of the shows where I necessarily am like, oh, this is a go-to or this is a rewatch. But honestly, I watched it so early on in BLs, and so much of it has stuck with me that like that's how I know for me it was a good show. And truly, that scene where Sarawat turns and he says, I found him, that just like genuine joy and love, it like I think that's the best scene in any BL I've ever watched. Truly, I do. That is a scene that has brought me the most joy out of any scene I have ever watched in a show. And I think that's pretty amazing. I think it's pretty cool. I love it so much.
This show has some good tropes. I remember liking Still Together better than Together. I think probably because it had a little more kissing.
It's got some ointment action, because emotion. we got Piaf in the mix.
Yes, classic.
So,
okay, guys, we have merch. We love when you guys post about our merch. That's really cool.
Yeah, shop.letstalkbl.com if you're interested. We will probably come out with some new merch right before Rycam FanCon.
Yeah.
Which is in August. And by the way, as has now been announced, we will be a part of Rycam FanCon, and we're so excited.
Stay tuned to Wednesday's episode.
So we can't wait to see you guys in the Philippines.
Yeah.
So many of you have already DM'd us telling us you're also flying to the Philippines, which is so exciting for us. Also, all of the Filipino listeners, like, we're so excited to meet you in person. And yes, this Wednesday's episode is all about fan events. AKA ... Rycam FanCon. We're so excited to talk more about it.
Yes.
We're so excited to talk about these 54 actors.
Oh
we're so excited that they're all announced. On my war agenda at all times since season 1, you guys.
Y'all start praying for Ayla now because, like,
between Sia and War, it's going to be rough for me.
I need to find some oxygen. Actually,
that travel insurance that I have to buy to get in the Philippines is going to, like, really come in handy.
Actually, I need to, if you're coming from Thailand, bring us some inhalers.
Yeah.
Can you take those on planes?
Yeah. I don't know. I think so. And also, of course, some of our You're My Sky Boys will be there. Not just Sia, but also Boom and Jump. So San and I, and like Jeff Satter, somebody we've also been on an agenda about since season 1.
Yes.
So much. So we're going to talk about all of this and so much more on this Wednesday's episode. So we'll see you there.
Stay tuned. This has been Let's Talk BL. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow all things Let's Talk BL at Let's Talk BL.
See you next time.